Hello, humanity. Welcome back to the We Are Not Lonely podcast. I'm going to be honest, I'm not in the greatest of mind states right now, but I've decided to do this podcast nevertheless. Partly to show myself that I can do the work even when I'm not in the greatest mindset. I won't lie, man, I feel like shit. Today is not that bad, but yesterday was much worse. I feel like an idiot. I feel like the biggest fool on this planet. Yeah. I've always heard this line that men love idealistically, and over the past couple of weeks, that's sort of drilled itself into my mind, and now I'm gonna be changing, man. I don't think I can be the same after this. A huge metamorphosis is going to happen very soon. It's already in process. So, let's be honest, let me start from the beginning. You might have noticed that Feb has been rather sus. I mean, let me be clear. I've been kind of slipping. With regards to the podcast, I haven't really been putting out as much content, as much long form content. The reason was, well, I'm going to be talking about the entire month of February. I did start a really cool practice. I've been doing yoga for a while now, and that's completely changed a lot of things, a lot of perceptions that I've had. It's completely changed my mindset, and I'm going to be making a video about that itself. But my point is that throughout Feb, I've only put out 2 podcasts. Generally, it was supposed to be a podcast every single week. I was going to say day for a second. It was supposed to be a podcast every single week, but I haven't put out one for. I've put out only one every couple of weeks, and that's a huge departure from tradition. And the reason that it happened, well, it's going to transpire now. Honestly, though, even the podcast that I did put out, I actually recorded the most recent podcast that was uploaded on the 24th of Feb was actually supposed to come out much earlier. It was supposed to come out around the time that I published Coimbatore Diaries. I had actually recorded that before I did the mixing, mastering, and the video editing for Coimbatore Diaries, to be honest. But it didn't come out until the 24th of Feb, mostly because I was incredibly distracted. And that's the story. So I started yoga. I started practicing asana with a good friend, and I'm going to be telling this story separately in detail in a separate video. But suffice it to say, I started practicing yoga, and I've been having amazing experiences. I left my shell of introversion behind. I started mingling with people. I started meeting a lot more people than ever before, and that's where this problem happened. I met a woman, and that's where the problem starts, doesn't it? It always starts with that. It always starts with a woman. That's what happened. I met a young woman. To be fair, I've known her barely the entire month, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks now. Yeah. I suppose it's been a month since I've known her. And by God, I felt so hard. I got in way too deep on my end, man. I've known this girl only for 3 weeks. And I got way too attached. I honestly thought that something was gonna happen. I thought we had a connection. I knew at one point, or I thought I knew, that she was attracted to me. I mean, all of the signs were there. And then it turns out they weren't. And now I'm broken. Of course, being me, I realized I was simping quite recently and I was very caught up about it. I realized I'm gonna have to cut her off and I decided to do it. I spent an entire day just comatose preparing for this. Because I'll be honest, man, I really like this girl. I thought we had something and turns out we didn't. It still fucking hurts so bad. It hurts so bad, man. So, me being me, when I realized that this wasn't gonna go the way I wanted it, I decided to protect myself. I decided to protect my heart. And little does she know I was already in too deep. So I had a conversation with her saying, listen, I can't be your friend. Because that's never been my intention. I don't think you want the same thing, so I'm going to remove myself from the equation. She said, thanks for letting me know. Offered to give me a hug, and I hesitated, and she said, never say no to last hugs. When she left, when I dropped her off at her house, when she got down from the car, she said, I'll see you when I see you. And in my head, I was like, I don't think that's ever going to happen. This has been an eye-opener in a lot of things. I thought I had all of the answers. I thought my theories were reaching perfection, but now I know the truth. I'm woefully inadequate. I don't know. And in a way, I guess this is a good thing. The universe is telling me to keep growing, to never accept mediocrity, to never stop growing. And I get it. It's a good thing in the end. It's a beautiful thing. It's a brilliant thing. But man, I feel like a fool. And I think this particular thing is something that most modern men can relate to. Having their hearts torn out for no other fault than loving too much. At the end of the day, despite all my stoicism, despite all my philosophy, despite all that nonsense, I'm a man with a heart, and I fell. Boy, did I fall hard. I didn't want to make this podcast for a lot of reasons. It's not accepted for men to share their emotions, and honestly, I wish I had someone I could share all of this to, but I lost a good friend too. The ones that remain are not ones I can burden with my burdens. The only good thing is that Mom's not in town. She hasn't. Anyone who notices me in this state will know that there's something wrong. So I have another couple of days to get myself together. Feels like my heart's been ripped out of its chest. I feel empty. I spent a lot of time crying, dude. Just put on sad songs and lay in bed and I cried. I've never cried this much over a woman, and I think that's the metamorphosis just waiting to happen. I'm doing my best not to hurt anybody through this. I'm doing my best not to hate her. I'm the fool. It's all my fault. I always believed it. I always believed that the man's completely at fault. It's always the man's fault. How am I dealing with this? Well, like I said, I did a decent bit of crying by myself. Locked in my room where nobody knows, and none of my friends listen to this podcast, so I'm fine. I'm just venting to strangers on the internet. I wrote a lot of songs. I wrote one song, sorry, I didn't write a lot. I got one song. I actually wrote it in front of her. I don't think she knows. I've also rejoined the gym. It's been 3 days. Sunday was when I rejoined. I worked out. Sunday was also the day I stopped talking to her. I told her that this wouldn't happen anymore. Every day feels like an eternity, man. I spend a lot of time sleeping. I'm very unmotivated. I hate to use the word depressed, but I'm not quite, yeah. I feel like I'm not in the greatest of moods. I'm really sad. I spent the last couple of days just listening to a ton of sad songs. And I'm currently, like, I do understand that there's stages of grief. I'm just looking up the stages of grief right now. I it's weird. I jumped directly to depression. So the 5 stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I accepted it like long back. It's like I'm going through it backwards. Oh god, this is really funny, man. Oh my god. Yeah, so I accepted this shit. I accepted the fact, the reality on Saturday. I spent a great deal of time just getting myself together on Sunday itself, accepting the fact. I fell into a depression on Sunday. I don't think I was bargaining. I skipped bargaining, and now I'm at anger. That's where I currently am. I'm trying to figure out what went wrong. I'm very, very angry. Not at her. Not at her, really, to be honest. I'm mostly angry at myself. It's really stupid on my part. I got attached to a person who isn't even going to be here in a month and a half. He's not even going to be here. I don't understand why this happened. I know it's really stupid. But I guess the heart wants what the heart wants, man. It's messed up. I mean, if we could control love, then. So this podcast has become my therapy. That's the situation. Most of the time I just wonder where the hell I went wrong. That's that's what occupies a prime location to my thoughts right now. I'm like really messed up, I won't lie. Like so messed up internally. I I remember I remember the last time I felt this broken, but even then it wasn't so much, man. I don't think I've ever felt this bad. I truly felt a connection with this person. That's the most messed up part. We're strangers. And how on earth could I fall so hard, so deep, so quickly? How, man? See, that's the anger that I was telling you about. I didn't want to do this podcast, but I thought I'd leave it as a reminder to myself in the future. I could come back to this in like a year or two and see how much I've improved. Because that's the promise I'm making to myself right now. I'm going to improve every single aspect of myself. I got comfortable for a small bit there, but I'm back. I am going to keep improving. I'm going to keep growing. I've always had this joke with a lot of people. You don't know how blessed you are to have me in your presence. It started out as a joke, said by my friends who were very happy to be graced with my presence during our reunions. Honestly, man, it is true. It sounds very arrogant to say this, but I know what I am. I know what I'm here to do. Sometimes I forget my purpose. I get distracted, not forget. It's pushed to the back of my head more like, yeah. I temporarily forget why I'm here. That's true. That's true. But that's me trying not to be serious about this. I'm just trying to enjoy the ride. And this time I suppose I took that enjoyment a little too far. So this is my promise to myself. I will not forget this. I will learn from this. I will improve myself. I will improve every single aspect. My philosophy, my strength, my looks, my game, my money. I will evolve. I will come back stronger. You know, the last time I had a situation like this was when I went to Hyderabad. I actually got my heart broken a little while before I left. I felt like shit, I won't lie, but that helped me get in the fittest shape I've ever been so far. And that wasn't half as bad. That wasn't even 10% of what I feel like right now. Honestly, it does not make sense. I understand that logically from a logical perspective. This is someone I've barely known. I feel like an idiot. And that's why they say only fools rush in, huh? Only fools rush in, and I rushed in. I was a fool. But I will be a fool no longer. I will become wiser than the wisest. I will become a monster. Incomparable with any that have been seen so far. And I don't mean this in a way where I'm going to go around hurting people. No, that's not what I mean when I say I'll become a monster. Those of you who might have listened to Jordan Peterson's work might understand what I'm trying to say. I'm going to become a dangerous man. I'm going to achieve my fullest potential. I'm going to evolve mentally, physically, and spiritually. I'll never let myself be put into a situation like this ever again. Young lady, you've taught me a very important lesson. I will learn from this. I will grow and I will evolve. Honestly, I hate to see this, but thank you. I'm grateful. I didn't get to say this to your face, but I'm grateful for the time we had. I almost thought we had a thing. I thought we had some sort of a special connection. I guess I was just deluding myself. It's okay. I'll set you free. Live life, be happy. One day you will realize just who it was that loved you. One day you will realize how blessed you were, how fortunate you were to receive it. I just wish that it was today, and I wish it was reciprocal, but it's okay. I'll be fine. It's interesting, man, like just speaking these words made me feel so much better. I've been journaling a lot over the past few days, just observing my internal state. It's been very chaotic on the inside. Nothing ever happens without a reason. That's what I keep telling myself, and I'm sure there's some reason as to why we've met, as to why we spent the time that we did together. I'll treasure this. You made me feel special for a while. You made me feel like I was special to you for a while, and I guess thanks. I miss you so much. I wish we could have had something, but it's okay. It's okay. That's not what was written. I hope we don't meet again. I hope you live a full and happy life. Take care of yourself. Goodbye. I'm gonna miss you. At least for a bit. At least while I get over this. Yeah. Thank you and goodbye. To those expecting, I don't know, a deeper podcast, I'm not sure, man. Like, this is just me venting. Like I said, I've been wondering where the hell I went wrong for a very long time, and it's time to get back to square one and start researching everything. Alright. Thank you. Thank you for joining me on this podcast, everyone. I will try to make the next one a little more positive. I will report on my status on that one too. Don't worry, I'm not at any risk to others or to myself. I will be here for a long time. Because I'm here for a really good time too. Well, not a very particularly long time, at least. Like, at least another 40 years. Then I'll take Jeeva Samadhi and I'll take off. Alright. Cool. Thanks for joining me today, everybody. I'm gonna go off now. Bye-bye. Goodbye.